My dear friends, have you ever noticed something strange? The more we run after people, the more they run away from us. And the moment we stop chasing, they suddenly start wondering where we went. Life has a funny rule. People value your presence only when they feel your absence. But today I want to share with you something even deeper. Why sometimes the best way to love someone is to step back and let them miss you. Because my friends, your silence can speak louder than your words. Your absence can teach lessons your presence never could. So today, let's understand not how to hold on to people, but how to hold on to your peace and still let them miss you. When you're always available, people stop appreciating you. It's a simple truth of human nature. The things we see every day, we start to take for granted. Think about it. When the sun rises every morning, how many of us pause to admire its beauty? Hardly anyone. But the day it hides behind clouds, suddenly we miss its warmth. That's how relationships work too. When you are constantly there, replying instantly, showing up every time someone calls, you become like the sunrise, expected, predictable, ordinary. People start believing your presence is guaranteed. They stop noticing the effort you put in, the time you give, the love you share. Not because they are bad, but because they're human. The mind values what it fears losing. When something is always within reach, we assume it always will be. That's why sometimes you must create a little distance, not out of ego, but out of wisdom. It's not about disappearing or ignoring others. It's about learning balance. When you give too much, too often, you teach people to receive, not to appreciate. But when you step back for a while, they begin to realize what your presence truly brought to their life. They start missing your laughter, your messages, your energy. Suddenly, what they took for granted becomes what they long for. You see, distance has a way of amplifying value. The same water we waste daily at home becomes priceless in a desert. The same friend you didn't call back becomes unforgettable when they stop calling too. So, if you ever feel unseen or undervalued, don't shout for attention, simply step back. Let your absence remind them of your presence. Let silence become your teacher. Because when you stop running after people, something magical happens. Those who truly value you will start walking toward you. And those who never cared will keep walking away, showing you who was meant to stay. And that, my friends, is how distance creates value and value creates peace. You don't always need to explain. Sometimes your silence says more than your loudest words. Silence, it's a language only the wise understand. In a world where everyone is shouting to be heard, silence has become the rarest sound. But have you noticed? Silence carries a weight. When you stop talking, people start listening, not to your words, but to their own conscience. When someone misunderstands you, your first instinct might be to explain yourself, to prove your side, to justify your intentions. But often, no matter how much you speak, people will only hear what they want to believe. Words can be twisted, intentions can be questioned, but silence leaves them alone with their thoughts. It creates space for reflection, for realization, for truth to echo back. Silence is not weakness. It is strength under control. It is the voice of someone who no longer needs validation. When you choose silence, you are saying, I know my truth, and I don't need to scream it to be real. It's a form of emotional maturity, a sign that you've stopped arguing to win and started understanding to grow. Sometimes, silence is the best response to disrespect. When someone crosses the line, when they take your peace for granted, words can add more fuel to the fire, but silence it disarms them, it confuses them. Because people expect reaction, they feed off it. When you don't give it, they're left with only their own reflection to deal with. And that reflection can be louder than any argument you could ever make. Think about the times you've been in a fight or a heated conversation. After all the shouting stops, what remains? Silence. And in that silence, the truth begins to rise. What was said, what shouldn't have been said, what was lost in pride. Silence is not empty, it's full of answers we're too busy talking to hear. When you stop explaining yourself, when you stop defending every choice, you reclaim your power. You realize that peace is more valuable than being right, that dignity is more precious than winning an argument. Silence allows you to walk away gracefully, not defeated, but elevated. So, when people test your patience, when they try to provoke you, when they don't value your words, just smile and be silent. Let your calmness make the noise. Let your peace be your protest. Because sometimes, the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. True love, true respect, true friendship, they can never be demanded. They only grow naturally when you learn to value yourself first. The moment you start begging for attention, you start losing your worth in the eyes of others. Because people don't respect desperation, they respect dignity. And the more you chase someone's approval, the more you silently tell them that you don't believe you are enough without it. So many people today are emotionally exhausted not because they give too much love, but because they give it to people who never asked for it and then beg for it back when it isn't returned. They text first, call first, apologize first, explain first, over and over again, until they have nothing left inside. But here's the truth. Love that has to be begged for isn't love. Attention that must be chased isn't real connection. Respect that comes only when you please others is not respect, it's convenience. When you beg for attention, you give away your power. You make someone else responsible for your happiness, your peace, your validation. But the moment you stop begging, something shifts inside you. You begin to realize that you are whole, even when they don't reply. You are valuable, even when they don't notice. You are enough, even when they don't choose you. That realization, my friends, is freedom. It's not wrong to want attention. It's human. We all want to feel seen, appreciated, and understood. But it becomes unhealthy when your self-worth depends on how much attention someone else gives you. Because attention is temporary. It comes and goes with moods, moments, and circumstances. But self-respect, that's constant. It stays with you through silence, rejection, and distance. When you learn to sit quietly with yourself, instead of begging someone to stay, that's when your confidence starts to grow. When you stop checking your phone every few minutes to see if they've replied, that's when your soul starts healing. When you start giving yourself the love you expect from others, that's when you truly begin to glow. Remember, you teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. If you accept crumbs, you'll never be offered the whole loaf. If you keep begging for attention, you'll attract people who enjoy giving it only when it benefits them. But when you walk with quiet confidence, when you respect your own time, your own energy, your own heart, you attract people who match that frequency. Begging for attention makes you forget who you are. It turns love into a transaction and connection into control. But when you start valuing yourself, the dynamic reverses. You no longer chase, you attract. You no longer beg, you inspire. You no longer need validation because you've already validated yourself. So don't beg to be noticed. Don't plead to be understood. Don't lower your standards to fit someone's comfort. Stand tall in your silence. Smile in your solitude. Let them see that your peace is not for sale. Because the day you stop begging for attention is the day the world starts paying attention to you. When your presence starts feeling like a routine, people forget it's a gift. The truth is, human beings are wired to adapt even to goodness. When something becomes constant, we stop noticing its beauty. It's like perfume. When you first spray it, the scent is strong, but after a while, you can't smell it anymore, even though it's still there. That's exactly what happens when we keep showing up for people who no longer see the value of our presence. At first, they may appreciate your kindness, your support, your time. But if you keep giving without pause, they start assuming that you'll always be there. They stop thanking you. They stop checking in. They stop noticing the effort behind your presence. And slowly, your presence becomes invisible. Not because it lost its worth, but because they stopped looking. The truth is, even love needs space to breathe. Constant presence can sometimes suffocate appreciation. When people know you'll answer every call, reply to every message, fix every problem, they start expecting it, not respecting it. What once felt like care now feels like obligation. And when that happens, it's not that they stop loving you, they just stop seeing you. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to step back, not to create distance out of pride, but to restore value out of purpose. When you pull back a little, you allow others to feel the emptiness your presence used to fill. You allow them to realize how much peace, laughter, or warmth you brought into their lives. You let them miss you in the most beautiful way, not with guilt, but with gratitude. There's power in making your presence intentional. When you show up with energy, with joy, with meaning, it becomes a gift again. It becomes something people look forward to, not something they take for granted. Think about it. Why do we treasure festivals? Because they don't happen every day. Their rarity makes them special. Your presence should feel the same. That's why you must learn to give your time like a blessing, not like a habit. Don't show up everywhere just because you can. Don't be available to everyone just because they ask. Be there when it matters, with your whole heart, with full attention. Because when you value your time, others start valuing it too. And yes, it can be painful to realize that some people only notice your absence. But that pain is also clarity. It shows you who was truly connected to you and who was merely comfortable with you. The ones who care will reach out when you step back. The ones who don't were never really there. So, make your presence a gift. Let it have meaning. Let it have energy. When you're around, let people feel peace, laughter, depth, something they can't find elsewhere. And when you leave, let your absence speak silently. You had something rare. Because when your presence becomes intentional, it transforms every connection you touch. People start to notice again. They start to appreciate again. They start to remember that your presence was never ordinary. It was always a blessing. Walking away doesn't always mean giving up. Sometimes it's the most graceful act of self-respect. You see, we often think that strength is about holding on, about proving our loyalty, about never letting go. But there is another kind of strength, quieter, deeper, wiser. The strength to walk away when staying begins to cost your peace. It's not about arrogance or pride. It's about recognizing that some battles aren't meant to be fought, and some connections aren't meant to be forced. There comes a time in life when your energy becomes too sacred to be wasted on constant explanations, repeated disappointments, or unreciprocated effort. You've already tried your best, you've talked, you've cared, you've stayed, but still, the situation doesn't change. At that point, walking away isn't quitting, it's choosing yourself. It's saying, I deserve peace too. Walking away with grace doesn't mean slamming the door or burning bridges. It means stepping back with dignity, without bitterness, without anger. It's the art of leaving without hatred in your heart, because maturity is not about how long you can endure pain. It's about how wisely you can choose peace over chaos. When you walk away gracefully, you're not punishing anyone, you're protecting yourself. You're creating space for healing, for clarity, for growth. Sometimes staying becomes a form of self-abandonment. You compromise your happiness to keep others comfortable. You lower your voice so others can feel louder. You shrink your worth so they can feel secure. But that's not love, that's self-neglect. Real love doesn't ask you to lose yourself. Real connection doesn't demand your silence or your suffering. So when you choose to walk away, you are not breaking something. You are saving yourself from being broken further. It takes courage to leave without closure. It takes strength to walk away without explanation. People may not understand it. They might call you cold, distant, or uncaring. But the truth is, only you know the weight of what you've carried. Only you know how many times you tried, how many nights you stayed up fixing what was never yours to fix. Walking away is not weakness, it's wisdom. It's finally realizing that your peace matters more than their approval. When you withdraw with grace, you allow the universe to work on your behalf. You stop chasing what's running away and start attracting what's meant for you. Because every time you close one chapter with peace, you make room for a new one to begin. One that doesn't hurt to hold. Distance becomes your teacher. Silence becomes your medicine. And time becomes your friend. It's important to remember, walking away doesn't mean you stop caring. You can still wish them well. You can still love them from afar. You just choose not to lose yourself in the process. You choose to protect your heart, your time, your energy, not out of ego, but out of love for yourself. So if you ever find yourself in a place where your worth is questioned, your kindness is overlooked, and your peace is disturbed, remind yourself you don't have to stay there. You have the right to walk away. And when you do, walk with your head high and your heart light, because sometimes the most powerful step you can take in life is the one that leads you back to yourself. Self-respect is the foundation of every meaningful connection. Without it, love becomes dependence, kindness becomes weakness, and relationships become unbalanced. You can give all your heart, all your time, and all your effort. But if you don't respect yourself in the process, people will sense it. They'll see that you need them more than they need you. And slowly, without even realizing it, they'll stop respecting you too. Respect is not something you demand from others. It's something you quietly command through the way you carry yourself. It's the tone of your voice, the boundaries you keep, the way you respond when someone crosses the line. It's the calm confidence in your silence, the way you say no without fear, and the way you choose peace over pleasing. People learn how to treat you by observing how you treat yourself. If you constantly put yourself last, they'll get comfortable keeping you there. Many people confuse humility with self-neglect. They think being nice means tolerating disrespect, that patience means staying silent while others hurt you, that love means accepting anything just to keep someone happy. But that's not humility, that's self-betrayal. Real humility doesn't mean letting others walk over you. It means staying kind even while you stand your ground. It means respecting yourself enough to walk away from anything that costs your inner peace. Self-respect starts with knowing your worth, even when others don't see it. It's understanding that you are not defined by who stays or who leaves, by who praises you or who ignores you. It's realizing that your value doesn't decrease when someone fails to recognize it. When you truly respect yourself, you stop chasing explanations, you stop begging for attention, and you stop settling for half-hearted love. You begin to understand that peace is better than approval, and solitude is better than fake company. When you live with self-respect, people start noticing the difference in your energy. You no longer over-explain. You no longer try to prove your intentions. You become selective about where you give your time, your words, and your emotions. Your silence begins to speak for you. You move through life with quiet dignity, and people start realizing you're not someone to be taken lightly. But building self-respect isn't easy. It often begins in pain, in those moments when you realize you've allowed too much, stayed too long, or cared too deeply for someone who didn't return the same. It's in those moments of heartbreak, disappointment, or rejection that you find your strength. Because when you finally get tired of disrespect, something powerful happens inside you. You start changing your standards. You start saying no more often. You start protecting your peace like it's sacred. And you know what's beautiful? The moment you begin to respect yourself, the world begins to mirror it. People who used to take advantage of you will either rise to meet your new standard or drift away. And either way, you win. You'll attract people who value your energy, who appreciate your time, and who see your worth without you having to prove it. Self-respect also means taking responsibility for your happiness. You stop expecting others to complete you because you've already made peace with who you are. You stop comparing your life to others because you know your path has its own timing. You stop apologizing for setting boundaries because you know those boundaries are what protect your heart. You begin to realize that you don't need validation to feel valuable. Your existence is already proof of that. So, love deeply, but never lose yourself in love. Be kind, but never at the cost of your dignity. Be patient, but not at the expense of your peace. Respect yourself so strongly that people have no choice but to do the same. Because self-respect isn't just about how you treat yourself. It's about teaching the world how to treat you. And once you master that, you'll never again have to beg for respect. It will naturally surround you like an invisible shield of strength and grace. Not everyone deserves access to your energy. And once you truly understand that, your entire life begins to change. Your energy is not just your mood or your motivation. It is your life force. It's the quiet strength that moves you, the spark that lights your creativity, the peace that keeps your mind balanced. But here's the problem. Most people give this precious energy to everyone and everything without thinking twice. They give it to people who don't appreciate it, to arguments that don't matter, to situations that only drain them. And then they wonder why they feel exhausted, anxious, or uninspired. Your energy is sacred. It's the invisible aura that surrounds you, shaping the way you feel, the way you think, and the way others experience you. Some people will cherish that energy. They'll uplift you, respect you, and add to your light. But others will quietly drain it. They'll come to you only when they need something. They'll pour their negativity into your ears, their chaos into your calm, and their insecurity into your confidence. And if you're not careful, you'll absorb it all until you start feeling emotions that aren't even yours. Protecting your energy doesn't mean you stop caring about people. It means you start caring about yourself too. It means you become aware of how certain conversations leave you feeling, how certain environments shift your mood, and how certain people affect your peace. You'll start noticing patterns. That one person who always leaves you feeling lighter, and another who always leaves you drained. The truth is, your energy doesn't lie. It always knows who belongs around you and who doesn't. You just have to start listening. You are not obligated to give everyone your time, your attention, or your emotional space. It's okay to take a step back from people who constantly bring drama, negativity, or confusion. It's okay to say no when you're tired, even if they call you distant. It's okay to protect your peace, even if it disappoints others. Because peace is not selfish, it's survival. And if you don't protect it, no one else will. Think about it like this. Your mind and heart are like a beautiful garden. The more you nurture it with positivity, rest, and gratitude, the more it grows. But if you let anyone walk in and trample over it, soon there'll be nothing left but dirt. You wouldn't let a stranger destroy your home. So why let people destroy your inner peace? You must learn to guard your garden, not with anger, but with boundaries. Boundaries are not walls. They're gates that decide who gets to stay close and who must remain outside. Protecting your energy also means becoming mindful of where your focus goes. Every thought you think, every scroll you take, every word you listen to, it's all energy exchange. If you constantly surround yourself with noise, gossip, arguments, news that only spreads fear, you'll slowly start vibrating at that same low frequency. But when you spend time in silence, nature, learning, creativity, or prayer, your energy expands. You start radiating calmness that others can feel without you even speaking. There's incredible peace that comes from detaching from what drains you. You no longer react to every insult. You stop trying to convince people to understand you. You stop chasing those who don't see your worth. Instead, you begin protecting your calm like a priceless treasure. You learn that not everyone deserves to hear your story. Not everyone deserves to have your attention. And not everyone deserves a seat at your table. Because your table represents your energy. And not everyone who shows up comes to share, some only come to take. The moment you stop giving your energy to the wrong people, you make space for the right ones. The moment you stop explaining yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you, you start connecting with those who genuinely care. When you no longer pour your heart into people who drain you, you suddenly have more to give to the ones who fill you. That's the balance of energy. What you protect multiplies, what you neglect disappears. So protect your energy fiercely. Guard it like the sun guards its light, giving warmth only where it's needed. Choose your conversations carefully. Choose your company wisely. Be around people who bring out your best, who make you laugh, who inspire you to grow, who understand your silence and still respect your space. Let go of the ones who only call when they need something, who make you feel small, who twist your peace into guilt. Remember, not everyone deserves access to your energy. Some people belong at a distance, not because you hate them, but because you love yourself enough to not let them disturb your peace. You owe no one constant availability at the cost of your mental clarity. Protecting your energy doesn't make you cold. It makes you conscious. It's a declaration that your peace matters, your time matters, your heart matters. And when you finally start living from that truth, you'll feel lighter, freer, and more alive, because your energy will finally be in the hands of the one who deserves it most, you.